But first, we start on Florida's southwestern coast, which Ian raked over, leaving boats piled in the yard, houses split open, and empty lots with little evidence of what stood there before. The storm made landfall as a Category 4. Winds circled at 150 miles per hour Wednesday afternoon. The hardest hit areas like Fort Myers, Naples, Punta Gorda, and Cape Coral saw roofs peeled off homes and buildings, roads turned to rivers, and trees and debris scattered like everything had been dumped out of a box. Over 2.6 million people are without power. In areas from Englewood to Bonita Beach, storm surges reached up to 18 feet. CBS News correspondent Kris is in Fort Myers with more on the storm's damage. Kris, what do you see around you?
John, this is North Fort Myers. We're 4 miles from the water, so this wasn't storm surge. This was wind that ripped this home apart. And as we walk around this neighborhood, there are several homes that look like this. There are others that have had their roofs peeled back like a tin can. Others missing the siding, the sides of their home. And then you've got some, like the one next to us, that's just fine. There's no power. They've got no water. But their home is standing. There's a generator running. They were out front barbecuing. So it is really hit and miss. And that is one of the things about this storm as we've been driving around. You would see some really impressive destruction, and then the next house was fine.
And that's a kitchen you were just standing in, essentially.
Yes. Yes.
On that,
and John, what's fascinating here is this house is wrecked. This house is wrecked, and if we were to take a jog over here, the teacups are sitting untouched, unbroken. It's remarkable.
And has the family that owns that house been around, or is that has anybody claimed to have lived there?
Neighbors tell us that folks evacuated here, and we've seen some people come back. Not this specific home, but you can understand why you would want to get out of here. One of the neighbors that did not evacuate, she described riding out Ian as 9 hours of someone pounding on your eardrums. Another said she watched from her living room as her neighbors' homes were torn apart.
Oh my gosh! And Kris, last night on Wednesday when we talked. You were up in Tampa. What did you see on the way down there as you traveled through all that wreckage?
Well, no surprise. It gets progressively worse as you move south. We saw a lot of standing water. We saw a lot of roof damage. A lot of places where clearly this storm had ripped through roofs. At one point there was a motorboat in the roadway that we had to avoid. Trees down. Power lines down, and as we got into Fort Myers proper, you come across the bridge off 41. There's a marina right at the base there. There were about 130 boats tied up before the storm. There are 7 boats tied up now. Many of the boats you talked about being tossed about like toys. One of them landed almost a block away, a block into land. The man who lived in that boat, who is now homeless because his boat has been ripped apart, he told us they were going to ride it out on the boat. They decided to move to a hotel. They then had to rush to the second floor of that hotel as feet of water came pouring in. They have lost their home. They have lost their cars. But he said they're alive, which makes starting over seem a little bit better.
Indeed, it does. Kris Van Cleave in Fort Myers. Thank you, Kris. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is in Port Charlotte, Florida. Omar, what have you seen in your day-to-day?
Well, John, we did a 60-mile trek down from Bradenton, Florida, all the way down here from Port Charlotte. We went through Sarasota. We went to Northport. And as Kris said, the farther south we got, the worse it got. We saw standing water, fallen trees, and we're talking oak trees, palm trees just snapped in half, some in the middle of the road. We saw cars that had been blown off the road. We're not sure if they were elsewhere or if they were trying to drive through this and got pushed off. And then we saw homes that were flooded. When we were in Northport, we saw a bunch of people who were gathered in the entrance to a neighborhood with water on it. We saw a National Guard truck pulling out. There were people on the back. Well, we pulled over to talk to some people. They weren't waiting again for the National Guard. They were with their own pickup trucks pushing through there, trying to get other people. it was amazing is that we saw one woman walking out. We saw her from several hundred yards as she slowly made her way up. And she had a kayak with her, but she wasn't in the kayak. What turns out, she had a couple backpacks on the kayak and her bulldog. The water was over her waist and she was walking through it. She told us that she spent the night last night on her kitchen table as the waters were rising. Her and her dog slept on the kitchen table. She says they were nerve-wracking. She says, I'm originally from New Hampshire. She had the accent. And she said, I'd never been in a hurricane. Now I have. We also talked to another woman who her husband and daughter, they all went separate places to ride it out. She was finally reunited with them and she was grateful. Her roommate was there as well who lives with them. They were hugging and were very emotional. This is the kind of thing we're seeing. At this point, people in Florida have been through this. They don't wait for help. They go and try to get things done for their neighbor to try to get to safety. And that's pretty inspiring to see.
It is. When you, Omar, when you saw those people trying to help their neighbors, you said you saw the National Guard? Was there other signs of official help in the neighborhood?
They were, but at that point, it was very early this morning. We left Bradenton at 4 a.m., so the sun was just coming up. You can tell there was a lot of officials who were overwhelmed. There was more people needing help than helpers themselves, and that kind of what spurred the local residents to just get involved themselves. Listen, this is Florida. I live in Texas. People have trucks. They love having trucks really tall. People kind of point and laugh at them until a flood comes. But this water was so high. There was one guy that we talked to who had a 54-inch lift on his truck. And John, just to give you a little perspective, I'm talking his tires were about right here to my waist. And he had to stop and he pulled back and he's like, I can't make it. It's too deep. He would have flooded out his car. So people were willing to risk that just to get out of the situation they were in. They don't know how long the water is going to take to recede, but they were miserable. If there's any good news about this, is that usually after these hurricanes, you're talking 90, 95 degrees, 90% humidity without power. That is an absolute nightmare. You're a sitting duck for mosquitoes. If there's any silver lining on this, it's maybe in the 80s, 70s as the high, and there's a slight breeze. It's bearable. They don't have power, but tonight, if they're able to sleep in their house, the windows will be open. There'll be a little breeze.
Omar, quickly before you go, what is the crumpled, twisted metal behind you?
This is what's left of a gas station. This is what 124-mile-per-hour winds will do to metal structures. This is concrete and steel and metal in here. Now it's scrap metal at this point. And you can't see it. There's a building behind us, 5 stories high, and the wind smashed the windows all the way up to the 5th floor. So you're talking every level, the wind is just punishing. But as Kris Van Cleave said, we'd go by some houses that look basically like their neighbor's leaves got blown into their yard or their palm fronds. So it's quite interesting to see.
The random destruction of an angry wind. Omar Villafranca, thank you.